here, and he's against Terrell Boaz playing Blue-Red Delver.
Yeah, Blue-Red Delver, not going with the green for Tarmogoyf and Nimble Mongoose. His creature base is 4 Goblin Guides, 4 Delver of Secrets, 3 Grim Lavamancers, and 4 Snapcaster Mages. Then he's got, for his spells, 4 Brainstorms and 3 Ponders to dig, 2 Spell Pierces, 2 Dazes, and 4 Force of Wills as counter spells. Then he's got his burn spells, 4 Lightning Bolts, 3 Chain Lightnings, 3 Price of Progress, and then 2 copies of Vapor Snag. A card we haven't seen really since the days of Delver decks dominating in Standard, really.
Kind of like a little spice, a little Vapor Snag action.
Vapor Snag, of course, is the spell from New Phyrexia, blue, to return target creature to its owner's hand, and that creature's controller loses 1 life. So getting a little extra damage therein with your unsummons.
So we'll see who is going to be on the play here, but a Blue-Red Delver versus Charlotte's Bug. The thing about Charlotte's Bug is that no life gain. So Blue-Red Delver, it does a lot to just, plink away your life total. It's got Goblin Guides, it's got Delver Secrets, Grim Lavamancer, Snapcaster Mage, Rebind, Burn spells, all that good stuff. It's Uppal's job to keep his life total pretty high and make sure that he does not get absolutely annihilated by a Price of Progress.
And Justin Uppal starts off with an Underground Sea into Suspending Ancestral Visions. Terrell Boaz is going to play an Island, Ponder, and he immediately started shuffling there. Didn't like what he saw.
Must have been a pretty bad Ponder.
Yeah, I didn't even see him look at them, really. And now he's going to draw Blind.
He draws a Daze off of the Ponder.
That's not a bad one to have.
But the thing it looks like he doesn't have any red mana right now. That's why he may have shuffled so quickly, because you see a Chain Lightning and a Lightning Bolt in his hand, and another red card. Looks like 2 Lightning Bolts, honestly, but no red mana. Luckily for him, he has a Brainstorm, so.
Justin Uppal, turn 2, Deathrite Shaman. He has the second land, a Misty Rainforest that he can sacrifice, so Daze was not online there.
So Boaz does draw a red source in the form of Misty Rainforest, so he can search out a Volcanic Island, which I'd be very surprised if he did not do that, as he does search through his deck here.
Chain Lightning here on the Deathrite Shaman.
Well, I mean, it's kind of an interesting little battle here where you decide if you want to send it upstairs or if you want to send it downstairs. Do you want to take care of the creature, or do you just want to put all the burn upstairs? But Deathrite Shaman provides such a annoying threat. You see a Grim Lavamancer that he's going to try to take care of it this way.
He's going to give Justin Uppal at least one activation of Deathrite Shaman here. As that Ancestral Visions ticks down. 2 time counters remaining. Closer and closer to drawing 3 cards. Justin's going to sacrifice his Misty Rainforest. Get himself a Bayou. Draw for his turn. Now he's got access to potentially 4 mana here. What can he do for 4? Does he have any Jace the Mind Sculptors going on?
The big one is Jace the Mind Sculptor, which he has 3 copies of, but he's going to play it a little slow here by playing a Baleful Strix and trying to cantrip there. So, Jace is a card that I wouldn't want to cast on 4 mana against a Blue-Red Delver deck, because I do not want to get dazed, and I would like to play around Spell Pierce as best I can. I don't know if my deck is always going to allow it if I can get the 6 mana, but I do not want to run a card of the quality of Jace the Mind Sculptor into a daze. And Uppal he's a player who's been playing Legacy for a very, very long time. He's going to cast a Tarmogoyf here, and that's actually going to get dazed. So I'm a little bit surprised that this is going to happen here. Unless he's okay with that taking place, but having a Tarmogoyf bite the dust like that kind of stinks. So Uppal, again, is someone who's been playing, he plays a lot of Magic online, and he plays just a lot of Magic in general. So he definitely knows what he's up against here in Blue-Red Delver. There's not a lot of decks that start off with Island, Volcanic, and then Grim Lavamancer. There's not a lot of decks that actually have this start, because Rug Delver doesn't actually play Grim Lavamancer most times. So I don't think he thinks he's up against that, and if he does see a Chain Lightning or something, I think it'll be even more of a giveaway.
Now what I thought might happen there is, I thought we might have seen Justin use his Deathrite Shaman to exile a card from Terrell Boaz's graveyard. There were 3, but that's because the Daze was cast, so there were only 2, And if the Deathrite Shaman, well, he did. Okay, so he did use it to get the mana. So
Yeah.
never mind. He did try to shut down the Grim Lavamancer.
So you see a Brainstorm in the end step. Boaz is going to untap. He's going to draw. Plays a Scalding Tarn, so he can actually sack away, make this actually a really good Brainstorm. But he's going to ponder first. So let's see what cards he wants to take a look at. 3 of them, and last ponder that he cast on turn 1, he shuffled away very, very quickly. This one he's happy with. It's a Delver of Secrets. It's the card that he draws. And again, must be happy enough that he does not want to sacrifice that fetch land. It's probably set the top card of his deck to be an instant or sorcery to flip there for the Delver.
And with the Grim Lavamancer, he can at any point really get rid of that Baleful Strix, clear the path. For now, he's just going to attack for 1, getting damage in for value and representing that he does not want to activate the Grim Lavamancer at any point here.
So Ancestral Visions is going to come off, and you're going to see Boaz Force of Will this, removing a Snapcaster Mage. So Uppal is playing off the top of his deck right now because his hand is pretty full of lands, and it looks like all he's doing is drawing more. He did draw a Maelstrom Pulse, so that's not the worst thing in the world.
He really wanted that Ancestral Visions. He needs those 3 cards. He's got too many lands right now. But with a Maelstrom Pulse, he's going to go for the Delver of Secrets. Terrell Boaz sacrifices his Scalding Tarn, going to 16. Justin Uppal's at 17. They're going to reconfirm life totals.
It looks like he's going to get his spell Pierced.
Yeah.
So the one thing that he's doing right now, he's doing a very poor job of playing around the different types of counter magic that the blue decks have available in Legacy, because Force of Will is one thing, but getting your spell Pierced and Dazed, that's another thing altogether. And getting this Maelstrom Pulse Spell Pierced when he has so many lands in his hand.
But it forces him to crack the fetch land. We think that Terrell had set up the top of his library, and he gets the Lightning Bolt anyway. Might as well.
So now Lavamancer is going to shoot down that Baleful Strix, it looks like. Yep.
Get the Death Touch Flyer out of the way. Attack for 3 with the Insectile Aberration. Uppal's going to go to 14. And it's surprising how quick of a clock that 3-2 can be in Legacy.
A lot of lands here for Uppal, but again, the resources that he did have access to in that Tarmogoyf and that Maelstrom Pulse did end up biting the dust on his own accord. Here's a Charlotte's Agent. Well, this can turn a game around. Hit 1, hit 2, hit 3.
Cascades into Ancestral Visions. Casts it for free off of the Cascade. Draws 3 cards.
Yeah, 2 lands and a Deathrite Shaman were Uppal's draws there. But Grim Lavamancer is proving to be very difficult, and it's a card that is difficult for this Charlotte's Bug deck to beat if it goes unanswered. Again, Charlotte's Bug does have 4 copies of Replicate, so it certainly does have answers to the card. Also some proactive answers and 3 copies, or excuse me, reactive answers and 3 copies of Force of Will, and then that Singleton Maelstrom Pulse. But if it doesn't get it off the board,
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, if it doesn't get off the board, it's a problem.
So Terrell Boaz is going for it here. Lightning Bolt, targeting Justin Uppal, taking him to 10. He decides that those 2 creatures don't matter here. They are on the ground. Insectile Aberration flies. So he thinks he can end this quickly, deal 3 damage in the air, 2 more from Grim Lavamancer. And then on his next turn, he's going to have Justin Uppal dead.
So he's Lavamancing now too?
He's really going for
it main phase. He's just going upstairs.
Does he have more burn?
Oh yeah.
Another Chain Lightning.
Down to
Lightning Bolt.
-1. Yeah. So, Boaz is going to win game 1 after a flurry of burn spells to take game 1 against Justin Uppal playing Charlotte's Bug, where his counter magic that does have clauses were able to counter 2 awesome cards in Tarmogoyf and Maelstrom Pulse there. So, we'll see if Uppal can play around those cards a little bit better in this second and potentially third game.
Yeah, Justin Uppal walking into those counter spells, especially that Daze.
Yeah.
Was really what hurt him, I think.
That's a big one. A Tarmogoyf being on the table, even though there was an active Grim Lavamancer, it still does change the way that that Boaz has to play the game a little bit.
And Justin had plenty of cards in his graveyard going that he did not need to depend on Boaz's graveyard to grow that Tarmogoyf.
So we're going to take a look at the sideboards here. We'll go over Justin Uppal's first because he is going to be on the play. So you're going to see 3 copies of Nile Spellbomb, 2 Chills, 2 copies of Golgari Charm, 2 more Baleful Strix, 2 Liliana the Veil, an additional Hymn to Torak to go along with his 3 in the main deck, an additional Maelstrom Pulse to go along with the Singleton in his main deck, and 2 copies of Thoughtseize to go along with the other 2 in the main deck. So his sideboard is basically you know, supplemental cards that help the cards that are already in his main deck. Additional copies of Maelstrom Pulse, Thoughtseize, and Hymn to Torak, and Baleful Strix. So, cards that I expect to see him bring in here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chill come in to make those burn spells cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the other card, there aren't like a lot of cards that are really insane here. Liliana the Veil is okay, but you know, that's 3 mana against a deck that has Daze and Spell Pierce. Hymn to Torak can be great, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that one come in. I'd rather have that than a Thoughtseize set. I don't really want to deal myself the damage. And then the Maelstrom Pulse, just to give him another out to an annoying Grim Lavamancer or Delver of Secrets / Insectile Aberration seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, I really like the Chills. That's an old school hate card that we have not seen a lot of in Legacy lately. And the interesting thing here is, the blue-red Delver deck really depends a lot more on those burn spells. It does not have the big beaters like Tarmogoyf and Nimble Mongoose. So Terrell Boaz with Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, and Price of Progress, depending on those burn spells to deal damage, if you get a Chill down and slow down those burn spells, you might buy some time to take it. Justin Uppal, Shardless Bug down a game. Let's see what Terrell Boaz is going to do here. His sideboard consists of 3 copies of Smash to Smithereens. Not really relevant. Baleful Strix is an artifact, but I don't think you bring these in for that.
As is Charlotte's Agent, but I'm with you. Those cards already get their value. Or smashing them, I don't like that approach then, because again, they already get their value once they've already been cast.
There's singletons of Red Elemental Blast and Pyro Blast, essentially the same card. The 4th copy of Price of Progress, a singleton Vendilion Clique, and then 3 Surgical Extractions, 3 Fluster Storms, and 2 Sulfuric Vortex.
So I like the sideboard options here for Boaz. I especially like the additional copy of Price of Progress. Again, the Charlotte's Bug deck is not a deck that can play, you know, a lot of counter magic because of Cascade. So you're not going to find a card like Spell Pierce, like Daze, like Spell Snare, because you don't want to cascade into those cards. So as a result, they have 3 Force of Wills to work with. Sometimes they have a 4th in their sideboard. Uppal does not. So I really like the approach of Price of Progress, being able to set that up, because you look at the Charlotte's Bug mana base, and this is a deck without any basics whatsoever. So I almost feel like Price of Progress is probably Boaz's best card in this matchup.
And on the other side of the table, tell me if this is normal or not. The blue-red Delver deck, despite having only 2 colors, rather than the 3 of Rug Delver, does not have any Wastelands.
Now you normally find some number of Wastelands in this deck. Sometimes it's the full 4, sometimes it's not, but to not see any Wastelands in Boaz's deck is a little bit surprising. I will agree with you there. He's
going with a little more stable mana base of 3 islands and 3 mountains, possibly because he's got that Price of Progress in his deck.
Okay.
And so
he's gonna search up a basic right now.
Yeah, if you want to finish the game with Price of Progress, why are you wastelanding their dual lands?
Yeah. All right, so here's a Goblin Guide to start the show here for Boaz. Going to reveal a Brainstorm. I got a feeling Uppal's going to keep that one on top because that card's incredibly powerful. But he's going to shuffle it away. So hey, what do I know?
Well, that probably means he already has a Brainstorm here, and he's just going to cast it. Well, if he's going to cast a Brainstorm, why not cast it in response to the Goblin Guide trigger and get yourself an extra land? So he does not actually cast Brainstorm, he merely fetches the land and untaps, shuffling away the Brainstorm that was revealed off of Goblin Guide.
So that means he just has no interest in Brainstorm being on top of his deck, period. And now here's a turn 2 chill. Okay.
He's very interested in that. Chill is one of the hate cards from back in the day. That's the 6th edition version.
Ugh, it's the yucky white border version. That's what that is.
I feel the same way. There is a foil promo version of that.
But you see Chill on the screen there. Red spells cost an additional 2 to play. And you see our director has brought up the black border version, not the white border version.
Tempest, as you should.
This is a card that has had a nice history over the course of Magic. I know that Ben Rubin won a Grand Prix by keeping a no-land hand with a Chill in it against a red deck. And actually had to say turn 1 go, drew a land, played a Chromox, imprinted and played a Chill, and ended up winning a Grand Prix because of it. So Chill is a very powerful card.
So I believe Justin Uppal should be at 14 here. He's sacrificed 2 fetch lands, there we go, and taken 2 hits from the Goblin Guide. And now he gets down a Tarmogoyf on defensive duty. It's not enormous right now. It is just a 2/3, but it's big enough to hold the Goblin Guide at bay. Now, if Terrell has a Lightning Bolt here, he could take down the Tarmogoyf, but he cannot take it down with Chain Lightning because that would be a sorcery and it would add 1 point of toughness to the Goyf.
You see him reaching towards a Chain Lightning right now, so I hope he doesn't make that mistake. And he's actually just going to go with a Grim Lavamancer that's going to cost 3 mana and pass the turn back.
So Justin Uppal kind of with his own personal Trinisphere against the red deck.
And this Wasteland looks pretty good right now.
No, he taps it though. Decides not to cut off that Volcanic Island.
There's the Maelstrom Pulse, the Lavamancer. Followed with a Deathrite Shaman, so he wants to use all of his mana this turn. It looks like he wants to keep playing defense here with the Tarmogoyf. Certainly in no rush. He knows that he's a control deck in this matchup, and he just wants to get everything set up as Boaz is going to cast and resolve a Ponder.
Tarmogoyf now up to a 4/5. We have instant sorcery land creature. Have to think that it's going to get into the red zone soon, right, Cedric?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost time to turn the corner here. You see it is a 4/5 right now. It is almost about time for that card to turn the corner and start putting the pressure on Boaz instead of playing all this defense. Here comes the Goblin Guide, going to reveal Liliana the Veil. And
So
Uppal can't block fast enough.
Representing some damage. Probably going to go for the Chain Lightning here to finish off Tarmogoyf.
And again, even though Tarmogoyf may die this turn, Deathrite Shaman is a threat. Liliana the Veil on top of the library is its own threat. Wastelanding that non-basic and Volcanic Island is a threat as well. So I think he's perfectly fine as Uppal, letting Tarmogoyf bite the dust here.
Yeah, it took Terrell 2 cards to deal with that Tarmogoyf.
A lot of time, too.
Yeah, with that Chill on the board, every one of these cheap burn spells costing 3 mana for the blue-red Delver deck.
Now here's a Himatorak.
So now Justin wants to hit some blue cards here maybe and keep those expensive red cards clogging up Boaz's hand, but no, they're, well,
Oof.
That's actually pretty good for him as well.
Yeah. 2 copies of Price of Progress, Bite the Dust, Wasteland takes care of the Volcanic Island, now Deathrite Shaman at the ready.
Those Price of Progresses were representing potential lethal damage down the line.
And you see Uppal's going to actually gain life instead of start dealing damage, so he's not comfortable with where his life total's at just yet. But he does have Liliana the Veil in his hand to be able to take care of Grim Lavamancer, and he does have a land here to be able to play and use his Deathrite Shaman as well. So everything is looking pretty good for Uppal in this particular game.
Would you say that it's all coming up Millhouse?
You know, I wouldn't, but you did.
Okay.
I will say that. Lightning Bolt taking care of Liliana the Veil here. An expensive one at that. More of a Yamabushi's Flame.
Oh, Yamabushi's Flame.
Or a Ghost Fire. Or some other 3 mana, 3 damage spell.
Yeah.
I can't list them all off. I'm sure you guys can at home at SCG Live. Hashtag SCGCOL if you can think of any other 3 mana deal 3s. There's probably one that cantrips I can't even think of right now.
I mean, not for 3 mana.
You don't think so?
Ember Shot.
That one costs 7.
It's a 3
I
damage.
feel like we've gotten to
cantrip.
the point where they can put a 3 damage, deal 3 cantrips.
I don't think so. Okay, so Tarmogoyf is now out. Liliana of the Veil comes back, a second copy. Deathrite Shaman going to town. There's not much that Terrell can do here, but he's still got a few cards in his hand. That chill has been clogging up his plays. He has to pretty much tap out every turn to cast a burn spell. So he hasn't been able to get the action going, and Justin continues to build his board with a second Tarmogoyf.
And what makes Chill so good against Boaz's deck too, not only does it make the red spells cost more, which is obvious, but the big thing here is that Boaz's deck plays 18 lands, so every red spell that he's going to cast, it takes up his entire turn. You know, 'cause this isn't a deck that's going to have, 5 or 6 lands in play. You see Deathrite Shaman takes care of that Spell Pierce, going to drain it too, make Boaz sacrifice the Delver of Secrets. Tarmogoyfs are going to come in for the final points of damage, and Uppal is going to tie things up here with this Charlotte's Bug deck against Boaz and Blue-Red Delver. So you see at least Boaz going back to his sideboard while Uppal is shuffling yet again, so he looks pretty happy.
Yeah, Terrell with a little smirk on his face there as he picks up his sideboard, possibly aimed at that chill, saying, I have not seen that card in a while. Do
Yeah,
I have an answer to it?
Few have. Again, it's not a card that sees a lot of play in Legacy, and for good reason. There's not a lot of red decks in Legacy, or no red decks that are certainly dominating the format. But it's a really nice 2 of them in the sideboard. You can find via Brainstorm and some of the other card drawing that's available in Charlotte's Bug. And when it is actually drawn and cast, it has a huge impact on the game, as we just saw in this previous one.
So what is he gonna switch up here after seeing the chills? Maybe bring in some extra support. I mean, he had to have brought in red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast already.
Yeah, I feel like those are probably in his decks, right?
Justin Uppal, meanwhile, taking a look at his sideboard again as well. He didn't really see anything extra that game, but maybe being on the draw, he's going to switch up his deck a little, change the configuration, take out some of the slower cards. Tempo does matter. The blue-red Delver deck, just like the Rug Delver deck, if it lands a turn 1 Delver of Secrets, can really take control of the game very quickly. Turn 1 Delver or turn 1 Goblin Guide.
Yeah, this matchup's kind of interesting because I'm not entirely sure who it favors. Game 1, I think, is how Terrell wants things to go. But game 2, obviously, I think that's how Uppal wants things to go. That involve a card like Chill, but just having pure control over the game, making things difficult for Boaz every step of the way, while also generating a lot of card advantage. That's how Uppal wants things to go. So Boaz needs to make sure that things don't go long. I think, again, he has no interest in playing a longer game. You have to know who the aggro deck and who the control deck is in the matchup. Uppal's deck, while it can turn the corner pretty quickly because of large Tarmogoyfs, Boaz needs to make sure that he doesn't turn the corner as fast as he did that game. Keep control of things, keep him off balance with Spell Piercing Days and all that stuff, and then just burn him out with Price of Progress, Lightning Bolt, and Chain Lightning.
Yeah, and then game 2, Justin Uppal's Hymn to Torak.
Yeah.
Randomly taking out 2 Price of Progress.
Yep. Such a good Hymn to Torak in the middle of that game. Again, I honestly think that Price of Progress is probably the best card that Boaz has against Uppal. He has 3 in his main deck and the 4th one in the sideboard, and I would be very surprised if he didn't board the 4th one in again, because Uppal's deck is all non-basics, has 22 lands, only 2 wastelands, and he can't search out basics. He needs these lands to operate. He even has lands that attack and 2 copies of Creeping Tar Pit. So I would be very, very surprised if the 4th one was not in if you're Boaz, and that's the card I want to draw the most here, because while it does require a little bit of setup, it's so good in this matchup. I mean, it's basically 2 mana, deal 6 points of damage at the minimum.
At the minimum, yeah. 6, upwards of maybe even 10, 12?
If things are going
Justin's
good.
not careful?
Yeah, if things are going good, you're getting 10 damage with that card. Uppal is going to take a trip to Paris. I'm going to look at 6 cards this go around.
I really think Delver of Secrets. He wants to land a Delver of Secrets on turn 1 and just start going to town that way. The burn spells can finish things off, but the Goblin Guide, I'm not so sure about the Goblin Guide getting it done here.
Yeah, I don't love Goblin Guide in this matchup. You know, it gets outclassed pretty quickly, gets taken care of. You know, gives your opponent potentially some cards that I'd rather not give him. Where Delver of Secrets is the better threat, I think. And I think he would be much happier with that. You know, also, even Grim Lavamancer I think is better than Goblin Guide. Now, I'm not advocating boarding Goblin Guide out. I'm just saying of the 1-drops that he can draw to get the game started, I think he'd much rather start off with Delver of Secrets.
We saw the Grim Lavamancer dominate in game 1.
Yep.
And it's a reusable source of damage that even under chill is not going to cost you as much mana as your burn spells. So if Justin Uppal has another chill draw, Grim Lavamancer may be the key to victory for Terrell.
Yeah. Alright, so Uppal going to go down to at least 6 here. He's going to be on the draw this game, so he can kind of undo the mulligan that way, but we'll see what he can find. Alright, he's happy enough. Game 3 is underway. And it looks like it is a Delver of Secrets. Okay.
Delver of Secrets. And the question is, does he have a way to set it up for turn 2? Like a brainstorm in his upkeep?
Force of Will from Uppal is just going to make all of this irrelevant.
Never mind.
And I'm a little bit surprised to see Force of Will on that card. That's a... maybe Uppal understands how important it is just like we do.
He follows it up with a Deathrite Shaman.
Both players at 19 right now. One from the fetch land from Boaz and a 19 from the Force of Will from Uppal.
Now here it is. Turn 2 for Justin. Is he going to have that chill?
Yeah, that's the big question.
And will he just play it out right here? Because we remember in game 1, Terrell had the Daze for the Tarmogoyf. He also has spells like Spell Pierce, Force of Will.
And Boaz is just going to play it.
Grim Lavamancer.
And Uppal's hand literally just went flying.
I don't know what happened there.
Neither do I. I've never seen that before.
Just got so excited. Is he going to cast Chill right here?
Maybe Liliana the Veil? Maybe Maelstrom Pulse?
He has the ability to pay for a Daze thanks to the Deathrite Shaman.
1, 2, and 3. Charlotte's Agent.
Okay.
Oh! In the chill.
But it could get dazed or he's going to
brainstorm response.
Looking for a counterspell for that
3.
chill. Wow, Shardless Agent cascading into chill.
He found a Daze off the brainstorm.
The hate card.
Yep.
And it gets dazed.
All right. So Boaz is still in this thing.
Key sequence there for these two decks.
Here's a fetch land, and we'll see. I think you got to take out that Deathrite Shaman right away.
Yeah, the Grim Lavamancer most assuredly is going to activate here, targeting Deathrite Shaman. Terrell gets a Volcanic Island off of his fetch land.
Right, what to do?
A Delver and a Goblin Guide. So is he going to take out the Shardless Agent instead to get in with the Goblin Guide?
Yes.
He does. He's getting aggressive. Going to leave the Deathrite Shaman for at least one more turn, and Goblin Guide gives up a land.
Now this is
2 damage.
This is risky, I think.
I would have taken out the Deathrite Shaman there. To be honest, I'm a little afraid of that card. It's your nemesis. It's your #1 enemy in Legacy.
Yeah.
Give it its respect. Justin loads up the board with Tarmogoyf, so the Goblin Guide has already been obsoleted.
Yeah.
Got in 2 damage. Was it worth it to leave the Deathrite Shaman alone, unmolested for another turn? That Tarmogoyf is gigantic right now. 5/6. We've got a creature, an artifact, and Shardless Agent, enchantment and chill, land, instant. can't be that far away from a sorcery hitting the graveyard here at some point. Probably a ponder. And Terrell doubles down with his second Grim Lavamancer. But his graveyard is not that big right now. He's activated Grim Lavamancer. Justin Uppal, did he make a mistake here in allowing Terrell to untap and activate his Grim Lavamancer? He could have used his Deathrite Shaman on his turn to get rid of one of those cards and force Terrell to get another card in the graveyard somehow.
It feels like it.
When Terrell activated the Grim Lavamancer, Justin looked at the Grim Lavamancer and read it, saw that it was a cost to activate the ability, so he can't respond to it right there. Get rid of a card in response.
So now here's a Baleful Strix from Uppal. Gonna draw a card, get a little bit deeper into his deck, finds a Brainstorm. Gonna play a Verdant Catacombs, gonna Brainstorm right now.
He has the fetch land to reset his library.
This is a pretty backbreaking spell, Pierce.
Oh. No, sir.
Now in comes Tarmogoyf, which is a 4/5.
So here we're going into race mode. Tarmogoyf versus Goblin Guide and a pair of Grim Lavamancers. Those Lavamancers currently do not have enough in the graveyard. Only that Spell Pierce. Terrell's gonna Lightning Bolt. Bolt you. Only thing that can generate that kind of electricity. And now he's going to activate Grim Lavamancer, targeting the Baleful Strix. And he's going to attack for 3.
Well, that's just growing the Tarmogoyf.
Well,
It's a little bit scary.
Maybe he can race here. I don't know.
The Deathrite Shaman is the card that's revealed. And I don't think it's impossible for Uppal to be able to race here. I mean, we're looking at a 5/6 Tarmogoyf right now. Into play comes Deathrite Shaman. Yeah, I like racing a lot here.
And as you said earlier in the day, Deathrite Shaman being a 1/2 can rumble against these 1/1 Grim Lavamancers. A very relevant second point of toughness.
Why is
on
it a
that
1/2?
Deathrite Shaman.
Why? Explain it to me. Why is it a 1/2?
Because he's holding that skull.
No!
Horatio, I knew thee well.
The skull does not give additional toughness. Do you hear me, Riki?
So, Goblin Guide attacks. Deathrite Shaman beats up a Grim Lavamancer in the red zone. Replaced with another one.
And Uppal's going to sacrifice that fetch land. Not going to search, just going to shuffle his library. And the reason you see him not searching for a land, not because he's out, it's because he does not want to open himself up to getting Price of Progress.
Price of Progress, yeah. He has all the lands he feels like he needs.
Draws a Wasteland for the turn, which is an interesting draw. And the reason I use the term interesting is because he can Wasteland Boaz. He can do that.
But that puts fodder in the graveyard for Grim Lavamancer.
Okay, so Boaz is going to chump block. Now what I like doing is I actually like playing a Wasteland here, but it doesn't mean you have to use it, because you can Wasteland your own land and take less from Price of Progress or killing the Volcanic Island. So it actually gives you options if you play that.
Yeah, because Justin Uppal's at 8 here.
Yep.
That's a precarious life total against a blue-red deck that we have seen pack plenty of burn spells. And now here we go. Grim Lavamancer activates, targets Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman, what did he just do there?
He's going to gain
life.
Trigger, Creeping Tar Pit.
Okay, that's another land though. Another non-basic land.
Oh, that's a good non-basic land. Ancestral Vision's the draw for his turn. Coming in for 5 more. Simply racing now, hoping that Boaz doesn't hit. I almost think that you have to play that Tar Pit. Yep, I like that. Suspend that and pass the turn back.
But now so much damage here.
Wow, that's a risky sacrifice to the fetch land too, because I understand that he wants a card in his graveyard for that Grim Lavamancer, but he went from 4 to 3 now. And 3 unblockable is exactly what Creeping Tar Pit does. So by sacrificing, he may have just taken a full turn off of his clock just to get a card in his graveyard.
He can chump block this Tarmogoyf potentially for 2 more turns, looking for just burn spells to go to the dome with, like Price of Progress. But The Creeping Tar Pit is unblockable, as you said, Cedric. Hoping to thin his deck out of another land and draw a burn spell. Oh.
All right, so here's a Ponder. 2, 3. Has to be searching for Price of Progress to Ponder. I think that's the one card he's looking for.
Now
I think that is Price of Progress.
He's put 2 cards in his graveyard.
Yeah, he casts Price of Progress. And Boaz is at 2. He's at 3, which that would put him to 1. So that is it. Terrell Boaz is going to win this match 2-1 over Justin Uppal and his Charlotte's Bug deck, giving Uppal his second loss, denying him another top